What's up, guys? It's Yojimbo here, and today we're going to be covering a thing for Path of Exile with the start of the Crucible League coming at the time of recording in about 24 hours from now. And I think it's a very important thing for a lot of new players that will be introduced into the game. If you question 10 new Path of Exile players and ask them what is the most difficult thing about getting into Path of Exile, 11 of them are going to tell you that it is the skill tree. They looked at the skill tree and they've clearly never played Final Fantasy X and filled out the sphere grid. So when they look at this tree, they have no idea what it is that they're looking at. And it is intimidating. And hey, I agree with them. It is intimidating to start out, right? This skill tree has a lot of information on it. And the thing that you have to realize is that for your build, 99% of these things don't matter, right? So what you need to do is you need to figure out where are the things that your build focuses on and how do you find them in the tree. So what we're going to go over today is we're going to break down the tree into into sections, kind of like a pie, into pie sections here. So that way you know where the things are located in the tree, primarily on a basic sense, without getting into intricate layered build details that require the next levels of intricacies that you probably aren't going to be interested in and would be overwhelming to as a new player. So remember, for any seasoned POE players playing this game, I don't want to see you guys in the comments like, well, 1% of the time you might need to do this thing on the skill tree when you're over here, right? Remember, we're talking to new players here in this video, and we're just trying to get them acclimated to the skill tree, because honestly, once you learn the skill tree, it's kind of like riding the bike. You don't forget it. You'll know where everything is every time, and you'll be able to very quickly map out what your skill tree is going to look like once you have an idea of what build it is that you want to play, right? For example, if you say, I want to play Bleed Earthquake Jug, once you know the skill tree, you can picture it in your brain, and you can say, okay, I'm going to need this node, that node, over here for some health. Okay, and you have the basic rudimentary tree built out in your head, and then you add on little things based on your gear and stuff like that. Anyways, let's take a look here, and let's get the basics done and looking at this skill tree. I'm going to separate it into colors. So we have 3 colors in the game of Path of Exile. You see in the background, I actually have POB open. This is what you use to like pre-plan your characters and stuff like that. This is just a snip of the POB so that we can color on it like we're kindergartners. We're going to split it up into 3 colors because there's 3 attributes in Path of Exile. We have Strength, Intelligence, and Dexterity, and those 3 attributes represent the different sections of this skill tree. Now, you can see in the middle of the skill tree, they actually do it for you right here. So you have the top, you have Int, you have the we'll just call it the right side, you have Dexterity, and the left side, you have Strength. So when we break this down in our snip here, let's start out with the 3 basic colors. We'll start out with red. So this right here, this node, we can actually zoom in on it here. That's going to be this node right here. And you can see if we choose the Marauder as our starting class, it lights up, right? So the Marauder starting class right here, we're going to color it red. And we're going to outline its area, which is actually predetermined with these lines here, these traveling lines. So you can see those there. This is the Marauder starting area. And we can even color this in a little bit so it's easy to see. Here we go. This is the Marauder starting area. We're going to do the same thing for blue, and we are going to do the Witch starting area. And you can see where that is if we switch this to Witch. It is this node right here. This is where the Witch will start on the tree. And that's going to be right here. So color that in blue. And you can see we have the predetermined lines here for the Witch's starting area. There we go. And we can color this in here too. That way it's easy to identify. There we go. And then last but not least, we have the Ranger starting area for the 3rd primary color. And you can see if we switch it to Ranger, they are going to start on this bottom right side node right here. So we'll color this in green. And we will outline their starting area here. There we go. So this is going to be the green for Dexterity. There we go. So now we have the primary areas for Strength, Dexterity, and intelligence. Now you say, oh, but what about the 3 other classes in the game? Well, guess what? They're just hybrids of the colors that we already have. So if we take a look and we have the, let's say, Templar section here. There we go. So Templar is going to be in between the Marauder and the Witch. And guess what colors Templar is going to be? Templar is going to be, that's right, half red on this side and half blue on this side. So they are a hybrid strength and int character, which, as you can imagine, means this half here, blue, and this half here is going to be what? That's right. It's going to be red. Strength-based. All right, so now if we go down to the bottom, what we're going to have there is going to be the Duelist, the best spec in the game. Slayer main. Here we go. Champion best ascendancy in the game, Kappa. We have the 0.2% used Gladiator last season. Everybody's playing that. So we have the Duelist down here at the bottom, and if you take a look at their colors, I bet you can guess what they're going to be. So we're going to have half red on this side. And have we figured out what the other side's going to be yet? I know. It's complicated. It's a hard one. Half green. There we go. And then last but not least, we have the Shadow starting class, right? So the Shadow starts right here. We're going to have half green. And let's color that in. And the other one being half blue. There we go. I can't draw straight lines. I think you can tell that. I don't know how to draw straight lines, so here we go. This is going to be your Simon Says board. Not Simon Says. I'm sorry. This is going to be your POE board. So now we have everything that's broken down into the 3 colors. If you have any video game experience at all, you can attribute some of the stats into the game and some of the modifiers and things that you're looking for in the game to what you need here. So if I were to say, I want a build that has a lot of life and armor, right? What area of the tree would I be looking for? Obviously, I'm going to be looking for the red section of the tree. We all know that strength is generally armor-based, has a lot of life, damage reduction, uses, weapons and swings a sword and a big axe and stuff like that. Barbarian, right? If we're talking about like Diablo 4 classes, things like that. If I say I want to cast a lot of spells and have a lot of energy shield, right? You should be able to tell that it's going to be up here in the blue section, right? That's intelligence-based classes are going to do those things. And if I say that I want to build based off of poison and dodging attacks, you probably know that you're going to want to be in this section of the tree down here, the dexterity portion of the tree. And then if you want to start mixing those things together, you could say, if I want to have like elemental attacks, right? If I want to use Ice Crash, which is a big ice slam that you do with a big two-handed weapon, well, you're using a big two-handed weapon, big strong attack, you got red, and you want it to be elemental based, right? So you have over here you got blue, elemental damage, stuff like that. Templar, right? It fits those things. Now, obviously, like I said, when you get into the more intricate version of the game, when you get into the real nitty-gritty of building characters, it's not as cut and dry as this, but knowing this information will get you into the game, right? So if we take a look at our skill tree here, and I say, again, I want to play Bleed Earthquake, right? Let's just say, for example, that's what I want to do. Let's say that I want to do it as, let's just say I want to do it as a duelist, as a slayer, right? That's their ascendancy. So I'm going to start out here on the tree. Let's see. So I know that I want mostly, I need health, I need bleed, and I need armor, and I want attack speed, and things like that, right? So let's see. We have increased attack physical damage, increased attack physical damage, increased attack physical damage, increased attack physical damage, increased melee physical damage, strength, melee strike range. That all sounds very good, right? So let's see here. Am I going to be using a shield? No, I don't think so. Am I going to be using a two-handed weapon? That sounds pretty cool. All right, so you can take these two-handed weapon nodes, right? And now you're like, where do I go here? Well, you can actually use the search function. You can do this in the game, looking at the skill tree, or on this path of building. You can type in bleed. And what it's going to do is it's going to highlight all of the nodes that have the word bleed in them for you, right? And as you can see, the majority of them are clustered down in this area where we want to be. So, these are all bleed nodes. Let's take those, right? And let's see, where else do we have more bleed? Oh, there's a big bleed one over here. Maybe we want to start going over that way. And we want to get these bleed nodes. There we go. We get those. And like, okay, well, now I need some life. As you can see, life is all over the place, right? Because every build in the game needs life. There's no build in the game that's not going to be using some sort of life until you get to the more intricate builds in the game. There's some builds that only have one life. But for the most part, they're all going to be having some life. You're like, oh, there's some health nodes that are here right by where I already pathed. Look, there's some health nodes right here, right by where I already pathed. So we'll pick those ones up there. They look pretty good. Finish filling in that wheel there. That looks pretty good. There's some health nodes here, right where I'm already at. Beautiful. We take those. And then you can say, okay, what kind of weapons do I want to use with this bleed build that I'm doing? We're using a two-handed weapon. We already know that. We're using, let's say, axes. There we go. So type in axe as our keyword. And look at that. It's only down here in this strength portion of the tree. Look at that. Now, this does go over here into the dexterity side almost. And, you know, it's still in the ranger portion, right? And the ranger was both strength and dexterity. So that makes sense that it's over in here. We're already here at these, right? So we can take all of these axe nodes here. Beautiful. There's some axe nodes there, but I'm not quite there yet. Well, I'm pretty close to these ones here. We can take these. There we go. All right. Now, what else do we need to survive? We need armor. All right. Let's look up these armor ones here. Uh-oh. They have the U in them. Forgot about the U. Okay, well, let's see. Armor and life here. That's really good. We already know that we need more life. These are increased armor. We like those. Okay. Ooh, and there's some we're actually really close to these ones. We could take these here. Actually, I don't even need that point. We could take these ones here. There we go. And we take all of our armor nodes. All right, well, that gets us to level 54 right there. And now you have a basic layout of your tree, right? You've got the fine makings of what you want your build to be. You've got some life, you've got some armor, you've got the bleed that you want to do, you've got some weapon scaling with the weapon you chose to use, which is an axe. You've got all the basic stuff that you need there to make a build. And now that you know the side of the tree you're going to be on, like, look, you can see that we've got almost everything in this little quadrant of the tree. None of this stuff matters. You don't need to look at any of this right now, right? Not for your basic building of a character. It just doesn't matter. Now you have a section that you can focus on, right? And you're limiting the things that you have to look at by 75% on the skill tree for this specific build, which is a lot easier to digest as a player. So now you can go through and you can start looking at these nodes here. And you can see what they all do. And it doesn't take as much effort to go through and do that now. You obviously don't need to look at all these little nodes, right? Plus 10 to strength, plus 10 to strength, plus 10 to strength, plus 10 to strength, plus 10 to intelligence, plus 10 to dexterity, right? These travel nodes, you can block them out in your mind. You want to be looking at these big nodes here. 20 to maximum life and 10% increased maximum life. That's pretty good. How can I get to that pretty easily? Well, I'm pretty close right here, right? So what do I have to take in on the way there? Well, all elemental resistances, that's pretty good. Ooh, here I have to make a decision. Do I want increased armor or do I want life regen per second? Well, let's see where they lead. This is more armor. This is more resistances. And this one is more regeneration. I think the resistances will probably be the way to go early on in the game, right? Because resistances will help keep you alive. So I think we're going to go to armor up here, resistances, and now we just follow our path. Regenerate life, plus 20 strength, and now we're up at our node here that we were looking for. So now we say, okay, well, where can this continue? Up here, increase attack speed and increase physical damage. Well, that's pretty good. This is 5% more increased life. That's pretty good. We like that. Oh, here's something we haven't really, focused on in the build. Well, we have versatility, which gives us accuracy rating. Well, we want to be able to hit the enemies, right? Well, we got to make sure we have accuracy rating, right? So we'll take that. There we go. Look, and that puts us at level 61, which gives us a lot of room to grow still, right? Another 20 levels or so for the average player. I'd say the average player probably makes it up to about level 80 or so. I think that that's a good base. This gets us up to level 61. 20 extra points can go here and there as you start to fill out your board as you go on. And you can do the same thing for any other kind of a character. Let's go to the other end of the spectrum, right? Let's go to the witch. Let's erase that. Let's go to the witch. And you can say the same thing. Okay, I want to play a spell. Okay, what kind of spell do you want to play? I want to play a lightning spell. Okay. Did you like Chain Lightning in Diablo 2? Yeah, I love Chain Lightning in Diablo 2. All right, well, let's make a Chain Lightning build. In this game, it's called Arc. And by the way, you can look up Enki's Arc guide. It's the best beginner guide in the game, and it'll teach you a ton that you need to know. But if you are just looking at the skill tree and you're a new player and you're like, okay, I want to play Arc. What kind of damage is Arc? Arc is lightning damage. Okay, we need to focus on lightning damage. Okay, lightning is an element, right? So elemental damage. Okay, that sounds pretty good. Spells. Okay, well, we are going to be casting some spells, and we do want to be able to kill things. So why don't we take this increased spell damage? More increased spell damage and more cast rate. Okay, sounds good. Increased life and increased mana. Okay, well, those sound good. We like those. Ooh, critical strike chance for spells. Oh, that sounds pretty good. We'll take some of those. Let's see. What else can we look at? Firewalker. Increased fire damage. Well, that's not too good for us. Increased lightning damage. Oh, okay. Well, we can take that. Sure. Perfect. That sounds perfectly fine. Well, we're gonna need to get some life in on this build, right? We're gonna want some life somewhere. What is this? Ah, there we go. Look at that. 10% increased maximum life, and we get 5 all resistances along with it. We like that. But what is this up here? Oh, 3 elements. Lightning mastery, cold mastery, fire mastery. Well, I mean, we already know we're going lightning, right? Well, we can just take that whole wheel. As a new player, it's something very common to do. When you become a more experienced player and your builds require a tighter skill tree, you're probably not going to take a whole wheel like this. You're going to be like, okay, well, which side of this is the best, if any? And, maybe you'll only take one side of it and leave points for something else. But as a new player, it's perfectly acceptable to just take the whole wheel there, and then you can make cuts as you need later on as you start learning more about the game. We probably need more resistances, right? So let's type in resist and see where our resist wheels are here. What is this one here? Ooh, it just penetrates resistances. We use damage with a wand. Well, we're not doing damage with a wand. We're using a lightning spell, so that doesn't really help us out here. What is this over here? Oh, over here we have chaos resistance. Oh, what is chaos? Chaos would be like poison damage, right? You see what we're doing here? So we're doing literally the same thing that we did on the bottom section of the tree, and we're just going to keep scaling these things that we know we want to scale. Ooh, lightning, right? I see this lightning wheel over here. We can take that. We take health. Oh, wait, it's not called health on the tree. Look at that. Even a seasoned player. You gotta have the correct wordings for the things on here. And you see you have this whole area. You can go, so all of these different things you can go do. Do you want to do critical strikes? Do you want to just boost up your lightning damage? Do you want to use 2 different spells? Do 2 different kinds of damage? It's all on here. And after you learn where these specific things are, it's going to be very easy the next time you come back, right? You're going to say, okay, well, I already know where all these things are, and they haven't moved, right? Nothing on a skill tree moves that significantly. They might change where something is a little bit, right? Like if we take a look at, let's give an example here. Bum 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 bum. I just search for it. There we go. Perfect agony right here. So now it's right here on the very far right side of the tree, and it used to be like right here, a little bit, a little bit over to the left. So they moved it over to kind of make room for some other things. Um, but all in all, everything's going to stay the same on the skill tree, right? So as you go through making your builds in the game and you're focusing on one specific section at a time, you'll be able to go through and learn each section individually, and then you can piece all of that information together after you've made a few characters in the game, you've played a couple of leagues, and you'll have all the information you need to be able to eventually be able to do this stuff, mostly in your head. Now, when you think of a build, are you going to be able to say, oh, yeah, lightning arc, that's going to do 1.2 million damage per second based on what I'm picturing in my head from the skill tree? No, I mean, that's what we have this for, this path of building, is to be able to get those exact numbers. But you'll at least be able to have a rough draft in your head based on knowing what these different things are in the skill tree and where to find them. So next time you're thinking about making a build, just picture go through the checklist. What am I trying to do with this build? And then based off of those answers, you should be able to break down a section of the tree to be able to get you to where you want to go, at least in that area. It'll help you solidify what character it is that you want to start with, what area of the tree it is that you need to focus on, and what nodes that you need to look for in that tree to be able to build out your character. Now, I do recommend, if it is your first character ever playing Path of Exile, I do recommend that you follow a build guide. If you want to take a look here, we can search. Let me pull it up here. Enki's Arc Witch. If you just search his name, Enki, it comes up Enki's Arc Witch, right? There we go. Enki's Arc Witch is, you can see this this post was made in 2014. That's how long Enki has been piloting this build. Every single season, Enki comes up and he makes a new version of the Arc Witch based off of the patch notes that have come out for that season. And sometimes it's stronger, sometimes it's weaker, right? But all in all, it's always a very good starting build for the game. Not only is it a easy to understand skill with Arc, which is basically like Chain Lightning, it's also easy to scale the damage, it's easy to understand how it works, and it's a very fun build to play. And his build guide is extremely well put together, right? Obviously, you can tell he's had a lot of time to be doing that. See here, he's even updated the post already, just a heads up, for 3.21, which is the season that we're getting ready to start. The recipe for lightning damage wands and lucky damage mastery has been removed and make the build feel worse early on. Maybe the crucible trees will help. So here he's already giving a heads up based on the patch notes. This is going to be the big change that we feel in the build, and you will be able to go down here and he gives you a breakdown. This is the skill breakdown. This is how everything works. Everything is linked. You click on it, it brings you to probably the POE wiki page that tells you exactly how that thing works. All of the information is here for you to read through and learn about the build before you start playing it if you want to. Now, you don't have to do that. I often suggest to people just get in and play the game, right? Pick a character that looks fun to you, get in and play the game, learn how the mechanics work, learn how to attack enemies, learn how to complete quests, learn how to do this and that. But understand that your first build is probably going to be shit. It's probably not going to be good. And there's no easy way to respec in Path of Exile, right? Not like Diablo where you can just do a full respec. So just understand that that's probably going to happen. But just diving in and just learning the game, in my opinion, is a very good way to go about it. If that's not something you like, these build guides like this are here for you. And Enki's a pretty easy person to talk to also. You can get in contact with him. You can send him a message on Twitter or something like that. Find him on Twitch, and you'll be able to ask him questions. He has a Discord channel and everything. And Enki is very, very, very willing to help in all of these different ways. Now, this is not a hashtag ad for Enki, right? But it's just that his guides have been very, very helpful for very many number of players. So it is a good place to start in terms of making a new character or making your very first character and getting into the game. When I first started playing Path of Exile, I quit. Right? I made my first Path of Exile character in Betrayal League and I quit. And I said, I'm never playing this game again. I hated it. It was terrible. I went back to playing Diablo 2, modded versions of Diablo 2. I was playing Path of Diablo, and I enjoyed that significantly more. I came back. I tried again. I said, okay. I kind of get it now, right? And I started building characters. I started putting things together. I started seeing synergies and skills and stuff like that. And now, hey, here I am. We play almost every league. We take breaks every once in a while when we're feeling like we're a little bit burnt out. We go play some other things. We come back to Path of Exile when it's a new league. And honestly, it's one of the best games out there. And I want to be able to help new players get into the game and stay in the game, right? And understand what they're doing and being able to understand how the game works, so that way they don't feel like they're drowning in the game all the time. Because there is a lot of things in Path of Exile, and there are a lot of things that you will eventually have to learn, but you don't have to learn them all right away. You don't. The only thing you have to learn right away when you're playing is the current league mechanic that's out, right? So what I always recommend is learn the current league mechanic and learn one previous league mechanic, right? So then the next season, learn the current league mechanic and learn a different previous league mechanic. And if you keep doing that, and if you're doing it very easily, learn 2 previous league mechanics, right? Just focus on 2 at a time, right? Until eventually you've learned them all and you know how they work. You don't need to interact with every mechanic that Path of Exile has. And I think that's the thing that a lot of people get confused about. They say, well, there's 45 different endgame mechanics in Path of Exile. How am I supposed to do all that? Well, you don't, right? You're not going to. If you want to, pick one and do that. I want to run Heist, right? I'm going to learn about Heist. I'm going to do all Heist content, and that's how I'm going to make my money in Path of Exile. That's it. I'm not worried about Delve. I'm not worried about Legion. I'm not worried about, Harvest. I'm not worried about whatever else it is, Metamorph, whatever else it is, right? You'll passively come in contact with those things while you're playing the game, but you don't have to focus on them. You don't have to learn them. You don't have to go through and do every single mechanic that those things have. It's just not necessary. It would be like doing every single side quest in like World of Warcraft or something, right? It's just not necessary. You don't need to do that. You can just pick up those things as you come across them if you want to, but it's not necessary. So that's the thing that I think keeps people out of the game the most. And I think if they have just a better understanding of how those things work, it'll be a lot easier for them to get into the game. Now, I'm always open to help people out the best I can in Path of Exile. Today in our Twitch stream, we had 3 or 4 players come by, asked me to look at their POBs. This is POB, Path of Building. So they send me a link, right? Now, here, I'll give you an example of that if you're confused. So like, just to say, for example, this is a fully fleshed out character here. So they'll send me this link that has all of the stuff done. It has all of their skills. It has all of their gear and everything posted in. And I can go through and I can look at it all. I can say, okay, well, here, I would change this. I would do this instead. I would put points into this here and that. And, and that's how I would change this build, stuff like that. So that's always the thing that I'm willing to do and help people. My DMs are always open if anybody has questions about the game or how something works or something like that. If I don't know the answer, I'll figure it out, right? I'll do the research and I'll get back to you on it, and we'll get you into playing the game. But guys, hey, hopefully everybody has a good league start. If you have any questions, hey, let me know down in the comments. I'll do the best I can to help you guys out. If there's anything else that maybe it's something that you struggle with and it's something I can make a video on, let me know what it is, and I'll try to get that taken care of there. Until then, everybody have a good Crucible League. Adios, muchachos.